here once again, and I am going to do another tutorial for you today. Today we are going to make smudge wands. Now, the reason I decided to do that was we are going to get some pretty rough weather coming in here to New Orleans over the next couple of days. So I had like all these herbs that needed to be harvested. I don't know if they're going to make it through the winter for this winter weather. It's getting down into the 40s tonight with 30-mile-an-hour winds, and tomorrow it might even get into the 30s in the next couple of days. So I've got everything covered with plastic the best I could, trying to protect everything. I'm just hoping for the best. But since I was already out there and I didn't want to just waste what I had, I decided to do a harvest. And so I did harvest a lot of rosemary and lots of basil. I have some Thai basil here. I brought my sage plant in. I brought my lavender plants in because I didn't want them to die. And also, I don't have that much sage. My plant is still really small. So I just wanted to let you know that you can also purchase sage at the grocery store. I got organic sage here. And they don't give you a lot, but if you're going to just add it into something, then it's worth it. It's like $2.50, $3, I guess, for that bit of sage. But I knew I wanted to put some sage into my wands. So the other thing that I got was they had some roses on discount, and I like to work with rose energy. So I'm going to do a couple of different kinds of smudge wands. So I've already got one here made for us. This one I made for bringing in money and abundance and prosperity. Kind of my theme right now because it's winter and things get a little thin and slim here. So we want to bring in that money. So in this wand, I took rosemary, rosemary, basil. I also put in some bay leaves. Even though they're dried, I rolled them in the center. And what else did I put in here? Rosemary, basil, and bay. Yes, that's what I put in here. So it's not a huge wand, and you don't need a huge wand. Now this little guy is gonna dry for about 2 to 3 weeks. So I figure we're coming on the new moon or the full moon. So it should be dry probably by the new moon. Perfect time to bring in some new energies, right? So I thought today would be a great day to make some smudging wands. So this is one that I've made. So I just wanted to show you the finished product first so you know what I'm making. So why do I have roses? Well, you know, some of you might want to bring in love. I wouldn't have any problem if the right person came into my life. So I'm going to do some with rosemary and some lavender and some roses. And I'm also probably going to, if I have enough time, I'll put together one also and show you how I did this other one for the money and abundance. Okay. So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need either some cotton cord or hemp. Both of these will burn. Make sure that what you're using does burn because you don't want it to melt. You don't want it to be nylon. So that's important. You're going to need some sort of herbs. For me, yes, I have my own that I grow. And if you don't grow them like I showed you, you can get them at the grocery store. Okay. So I've even picked up full plants of rosemary and basil at the grocery store before and brought them home. And I've got some of those in my garden yet. So, but the first thing you're going to do, I'm going to add rosemary to my love attraction one. And so I'm going to grab a few pieces here of the rosemary. And luckily I harvested quite a bit off of my big plant. So I bundle these up, and I like to stagger them so that they're not just all together in one length. So you just kind of stagger them in length. So I'll put one here, start one a little bit up further and a little up further. And then I grab them I try to get them all together so that we're not going to drop anything here as well. Now I'm going to take some of my lavender and I'm going to add that in. Now I have two different kinds of lavender. I don't know what they are. I don't remember. But I have this that's a heavier, thicker type, and this which is a little thinner. And they both smell heavenly. So I'm going to add both because, you know, a little bit's good and a lot is great. So I'm adding that. I brought in thyme, and I don't know why I brought in thyme, but I felt like I needed to add a couple of pieces of thyme in it. Maybe it's because I've waited so long for love. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Time is wasting. I don't know, but something told me to add thyme. All right, I'm going to also throw in a couple of leaves of my sage that I grew. Sage is just a purifying, and I like to have that in there. You want pure love, pure energy, right? And now I'm going to take some of these. Do I want the pink or do I want the red? Or do I want some of each? I think I'm going to do some of each. Now, I have my utility scissors here because I am not using my fabric scissors on these, okay? So I'm going to cut off a couple of these little red ones. Okay, so I got 2 red. I'll put the others aside. And I'm going to bring in, let's just put in 1 pink. That way we have the number of 3. Remember, I always work with the numbers of 3. 3 is our magical numbers. So I'm bringing those in. Now I think I'm going to throw on another piece of lavender on the top here. So this is what I have that I'm working with, if you can see all of that. See, it's beautiful. And now I'm going to lay it down. We'll pick it back up in a clump here in a minute. I am going to use this hemp that I have. I have a hemp cord. And the way we do this is first I get everything else out of my way because it's just going to get wrapped up in this. So first things first, I want to turn this direction and get all my things back together the way they were. Okay. Now, you're going to take our thread and our cord, and at the base, you're going to gather in as much as you can. And it's not all going to go in, guys. That's okay. We're going to get some of it. We want enough to have a piece left over on the other side. So we're not going to tie it too short. We want to tie a nice length here. So I'm going to tie it like this. So you see, I've got it. It's pretty much together. And I'm going to knot that one more time. Okay. And I'm going to knot it a 3rd time. I always do things in 3s. Now, see, and I dropped it all, but that's okay. We're going to put it all back together. And it works just fine. Just a petal. And I am losing some petals. These are old roses, that's why. But that's okay. Still got rose energy in it. So what we do is we take this and we're going to wind it a couple of times here. And now I'm going to go up and just keep winding this up. And I'm gathering all of the herbs and the flowers together. Okay. Then I'm going to get up here at the top. I'm going to wrap it twice. And now I'm going to bring it back down. And the reason we're doing that is to try to capture all of the herbs. Okay, and it makes a little crisscross pattern. If you can see that. Can you see that close enough? It's like a crisscross pattern, okay? Now, I'm going to leave a length on here of the cord, mainly because I want to be able to hang it up to dry it. So once again, I'm going to wrap a couple of times around. And then I'm going to bring it back over here to where I had this other length that's left, and I'm going to tie 3 more knots. 1, 2, and 3. Now, it doesn't have to be pretty, guys. It's going to dry anyway. And when it dries, that's when we can go ahead and burn it. But it does need to be dry. You cannot light it when it's wet. It will not burn. It won't smoke. It won't burn. It won't do anything. Okay. So you have to let it dry completely. So that's going to be at least 2 weeks, maybe 3, depending on what your humidity is in your home. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to use my fabric scissors to cut the cord. And like I said, I'm going to cut a little bit of a length and leave it on here so that we can hang it up to dry. Okay. So here we have the one to attract love into our life. So we have some roses, we have the lavender and the rosemary, the thyme, which I'm not sure why, but I needed to add that, and a little bit of sage. So we have that in here. Now that's going to dry. But the one thing I do want to do is take my utility scissors because we want to make it look nice. And I'm going to trim the end here just a little bit. So now we have a nice, neat little end on it. And now you can take this and you could tie it on a hook. You could tie it on, I hang it on my wine glass rack. I just tie it around one of my wine glasses. So that's what I'm going to do with mine. But if you want, you could just make a little loop here and we can make our own little loop and then we could hang it on something as well. So just go ahead and do that. If I can. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. And so now I have a little loop and I could hang that up so it can dry as well. All right, so put this one aside. Now, let's talk money here, guys. How are we going to do our wand for money? Well, the way I did it earlier, we are going to put in rosemary because that is a purification kind of herb and we want pure energy. We want the money to come to us for the right reasons and in the right way. So let's add some of that in there. All right. And I really love the smell of rosemary. It is just so nice. Yeah, I always wish I have smell-o-vision for you, and I don't. All right. Now, I'm also going to add some basil. Now, my basil is starting to wilt. It's been out for a bit. But this is Thai basil. Now, the reason I use Thai basil, first off, I had a lot of it. But basil in general is great to attract money. But Thai basil is a little spicier. So what happens with spice? Makes things go a little faster. So I wanted to add that in. Okay, so I did that. So I'm going to show you what I got from the store so that you can see the sage that I bought. It's not the best. I mean, we have some that's kind of brown, but the rest isn't bad. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull some of these leaves off. They're not bad leaves, actually. They're pretty nice. Okay. So I got this nice little cluster of it. I'm going to put that in there. Now, like I said before, I added some bay leaves. And I'm going to add the bay mainly because, well, it's really good for wealth and abundance. And I put it in all of my career gris and career voodoo dolls because it helps things. So, and if you ever have a down day and you're not feeling real up, you're feeling a little depressed, burn bay leaves. They are so wonderful. When you burn that smoke, it uplifts everything. So I'm going to tuck these in because they are already dried. They can kind of break apart, but I'm just going to go ahead and just mix that all in. I think I'm going to take this nice piece of Thai basil as well. Stick that on there. 'Cause no reason. Waste not, want not, they always say. So that's what I've got here. So I've got a nice, big, thick bunch. Okay. Now, we're going to use a different color. So I have a whole bag of hemp cord. And why don't we bring in, oh, do we have gold or green? Ooh, this green's nice. This green, even though it blends in with the leaves, it's the same color as money. So let's go ahead and use this one. So I'm going to open this up. You might want to know, why is her hemp cord all wrinkly? Well, to be honest with you, it got wet. And then I washed it, and because I wasn't going to waste it, and now it's all wrinkly. But it still works, so I'm not going to get rid of it. I will use it up. It's not that expensive, but I hate wasting anything. I'm just really frugal. So I'm going to go ahead once again, tie that knot at the bottom of the clump of the cluster of herbs. And I'm going to tie that with 3 knots. There's 2, and this is 3. Now I'm going to take this cord and I'm going to wrap it once, twice, thrice. And now I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this all the way up. Now you want to do it tight because this is going to dry. And when it dries, what happens? All those herbs shrink. So you can hold the cord if you'd like and spin this. Oops, and we lost a bay leaf. So I'm going to tuck that back in there. Okay. And so we do that. Pull that all in. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. I'm going to do a couple up here, and then I'm going to bring it back down, crisscrossing all those cords. All right. And once, twice, thrice. And I'm going to cut the length down here. We're going to tie those knots again. One, two, and 3. Okay. And we are now going to put our loop on here in case you want to hang it up on a nail or a hook. But try to do it in a cool, dark place, or just a place that's not too humid. So my home just is not, because I have, it's pretty dry in here. And I'm going to trim the ends. Okay. And there you have it. So this one will attract money. All right, let's trim off that extra cord because we don't need the extra piece. But there you go, guys. We made one for money and we made one for love. And so now you know how to make your very own smudge wands. They're not hard. They're not really expensive, especially if you grow your own herbs. But it takes some cord, cotton or hemp, and the herbs of your choice. And I always, tell you, because you need to research. You want to make sure you're using the right herbs to attract the right things. So rosemary is always a good go-to because that is a purification. Sage is also very good. It's very good for money. It's good for fertility. It's good for a lot of good things. And sage also is antibacterial. It is going to cleanse the air. So that's always a good thing to use. Now, the other thing that I use is lavenders. Lavender is a very good one to burn. Bay, of course, which is uplifting. But always remember, you can add all different kinds of herbs. You can add flowers. You can add whatever you'd like to. You're going to burn it once it's dry. But remember, it takes 2 to 3 weeks of hanging it up to dry before you can burn it. So we make them on the full moon so we can use them by the new moon. And They just smell so good. And I love to smudge my house, and I just love the smells. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to share it with your friends. If you are interested in a private reading, I do phone and FaceTime as well as in person. I also do seances, mediumship sessions as well in person. I'm an ordained minister. I can do weddings. I love doing them. I have several coming up already. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. Check out my website, willowlaymachant.com. And if you need to contact me, you can reach me in the comments below, or you can also reach me by email at willowlaymachant@yahoo.com. All of those ways you can contact me. So until next time, be blessed.